Hi, my name is Moshe Adnan. I'm a third-year LLB student at the University of London International Programs, and I'm from the United States. I study completely independently of a learning institution and without the assistance of hired tutors. I currently have an upper second grade point average, and my previous education consists of a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and a Bachelor of the Arts in Economics, both from a prestigious university here in the United States. I embarked on the University of London LLB program nearly 2.5 years ago, and can attest to the substantial quality of the program, and am certain, as the university states, that it is comparable to that of the internal law colleges of the University of London, such as UCL and the London School of Economics. Through many interactions that I've had with multiple law students here in the U.S., I am able to state confidently that my knowledge of the common law, which I've gained through the University of London program, is well above par. With that said, the LLB program has a major flaw with it, and that is that it has a complete lack of transparency and openness regarding the standards upon which our single set of final exams, which comprise our entire mark for the year, are graded. This is why I built this website, to open myself up for everybody to see. I am publicizing all of my correspondence and complaints with the university regarding this issue, and even some of my exam scripts from last year. In my first year of studies, I was very diligent and was very active on the virtual learning environment and on the student Facebook groups, and did a great deal of outside reading as advised by the university. When I received my exam results, which, although were relatively high, an upper second, I was quite let down because I expected at least one first-class result and could not put my finger on where I erred. I immediately wrote the director of the program with my concerns. Those letters are included in this website, including the responses to them. And I asked that the university provide first-class sample scripts for independent students such as myself to review, so we can learn how to confront and properly answer in a first-class methodology. This request was denied. Entering into my second year of studies, I thought that I had the benefit of hindsight from my first year, and I dove into my studies at an even greater pace, reading voluminously and using many more outside sources, including multiple law journals, multiple textbooks, multiple cases and excerpts from the online library, and even purchasing exam guidebooks, so I could fill my proverbial quiver with the breadth and depth of legal knowledge I could use when the second year exams came around. Again, I was very active on the VLE and on the Facebook groups, and posed many difficult and thought-provoking questions in all my subjects, as my fellow students can attest. When the time came, I was more than prepared, and thought that I would certainly achieve at least one, if not two, illustrious first-class marks. To my shock and dismay, the results I received in my second year, although again an upper second average, were numerically lower than those I received in my first year. The irony wasn't lost on me, and after pouring my heart, soul, and hundreds of sincere hours into my studies, I was left feeling depleted and depressed. Yet again, I didn't know where I erred, but the feeling that I had was that my efforts were fruitless, especially since my answers were so immensely thorough, consisting of, in the tort exam and the trust exam, nearly 100 precedents and multiple methods of answering problem questions, and in the public law exam, approximately 60 precedents, and again, multiple methods and approaches to answering questions. In my second year, I made a decision to write down my exams from memory when I immediately returned home from the exams so that I could have them for further reference. After receiving my second year marks, I decided to email professors throughout the UK with these answers and ask their opinion. More than one has told me that they do not feel the marks awarded me were justified, and they were as much in the dark regarding how the marks were awarded as was I. The problem with the University of London's grading policies is that we, the students, are left in the dark regarding how our papers are judged academically. The examiner reports provided to us are generally very lacking, and they provide a very rough outline as to what topics the exam answers should touch upon, but nothing more, not nearly the 2-page minimum that the university suggests comprises a competent answer. Even though, after my complaints from last year, several of the examiner reports that were provided to us last year included 1 to 2 paragraph excerpts from first-class scripts, this is not nearly enough to guide independent students such as myself as to what comprises a quality paper. Additionally, the university refuses to return exam papers with examiner marks on them. This is a service which can be easily streamlined by scanning papers into a computer and mailing them back to each student, a service which I and many of my fellow students would gladly pay a small fee for, but it's one that's not offered. If we don't see the examiner's marks and comments on the sides of our exam papers, we don't know on what basis these mysterious examiners are grading our papers. And how can we possibly improve academically if we are left in the dark? And how are we to know on what basis they grade our exams so that we can make due for next year's marks and next year's tests? It seems to me and other students I have discussed this problem with that grading is completely subjective, and it feels as though we are graded in a black box. There's no objective standard or benchmark which the university publishes that explains to us, the students, how exam marks are awarded outside of a very general assessment criteria provided in the student handbook. And still, the university refuses to publish first-class sample exam scripts for students to gain an insight as to what comprises a quality paper. To top it off, in addition to not knowing where we erred and lacking the guidance as to how we can improve, we have no right to appeal our grades and must accept them as final. Essentially, we're being told to take what we're given and to hush up. I'm sorry to say, but it seems to be a very colonial mentality. And the irony is that we've all chosen to study at the University of London International Programs because of the worldwide respect and admiration for England and for the name London and the great tradition of the common law which England fathered. This same legal tradition, which is based on openness, transparency, and equity, which we learn as students, is not being applied to the process by which we are graded. The reason I devoted my time to make this website is because there are many students such as myself who sincerely invest tremendous efforts into our studies. Those of us who devote ourselves wholeheartedly should be rewarded objectively upon a benchmark which should be made open and known to us. In any educational endeavor, there must be a direct correlation between the time and effort invested and the scholastic rewards achieved, and not some seemingly arbitrary grades because of the volume of scripts examiners must mark. The grades we receive aren't simply a meaningless number to us. They reflect our abilities and our efforts to the world as a whole, and directly affect our future employability and/or entrance into further academic endeavors. Employers or admission officers look at our grades and make a determination on our legal abilities and our devotion to our studies based directly on these marks. Simply, these marks have a direct and potent impact on our futures. The fact that many of us study independently with very little guidance outside of the material provided to us by the university all the more so obliges the university to be open regarding its grading criteria. And for the sake of making our education its primary concern, the university should provide us with the objective standards upon which we are marked. Our fully graded and marked exam scripts should be returned, and sample first-class scripts should be provided to help us achieve our goals of academic success, which leads to professional success. I invite all of you on this website to read what I have posted, and feel free to express your comments, grievances, and criticisms on the section of my website called Blog Speak Up. I hope this website will invigorate many of my fellow students and students throughout the world to speak up, so the university will make the necessary changes and improvements to help us achieve our goal of being successful students and successful future lawyers. Openness is progress. Thank you.